So welcome back to the electronics lab for a brief demo of a circuit that I implemented to test out. Now, I just wanted to capture its performance before utterly restructuring it and moving on to something new. So the idea is an idea that I've had for a long time actually and never had an application to try out. And I'm sure, in fact, I know that it's been implemented by others in the past. So it's not an original idea. And that is simply to raster two CRTs with the same raster signal. And it may not look that way because these two have different persistences of phosphor, but they are being scanned with the same raster, just deformed, scaled, whatever. And the idea is that you can use a photosensor to map the brightness from one to the other and some electronics, right? And so the reason for that was because last week on the video I published, I had discovered a strange persistence afterglow sort of effect on this leader oscilloscope's phosphor screen. So the goal is to raster scan it and to map the measured brightness out onto a bigger CRT, not necessarily this one, although this one has a nice blanking circuit and a bunch of other cool features. But and then I can zoom in electronically. Now, that's actually not the first thing I tried. Last week I had this shroud here. I tried to do this to get some contrast, and it sort of helps. And then I made a similar mount like this that fits my Diamond Trader microscope at a right angle to the way it normally goes. And that's just sort of a normal run-of-the-mill electronics type microscope, that you'd use for soldering tiny surface mount and stuff. And it's really a worthwhile exercise to figure out how to hold that thing pointing right at the scope screen at the right distance, because there's a lot of informational capacity in a phosphor if you can actually look that finely, and it makes your amplifiers suddenly not so terrible. They have a lot more steam when you're zooming in by you're making a millimeter out to several centimeters, whatever. Anyways, so that's great, but I still can't really film those phenomenon. I can only take stills, and I do intend to show you guys some stills through the microscope of the phosphor. But the other way to do it is to put electronic gain using a photocell. So here is my photocell system, and I'm actually going the other way. I'm picking up the image off of this screen and mapping it onto the other screen because this phosphor is much more readily detected. And so it's not a signal to noise problem at all. There's a huge, huge signal. And so it's just easy to test. And it's just, it's a worthwhile first step. So this is a steel housing I crudely welded together, and there's a piece of round bar that goes into a stand made out of like a hockey puck size piece of steel. Anyways, and it's got a phototube inside. Okay, and so its signal, because this leader scope, I'm going to try and get a bit of a better. Let's see, bear with me here. Sorry about this. See if I can get this to look a little nicer. All right, so then I've got a comparator that blows the trace away when the brightness falls below a certain level, because there's no blanking on this. The other thing is I'm trying to avoid that gross burn mark that's on my screen, so I'm just going to make that the image stops here instead of, okay. So now I'm going to adjust that comparator threshold. Actually, let's see, I got an optical filter. That looks kind of nice. Let's see if I can get some more brightness. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm going to adjust that threshold, and we're just looking at the scope screen with nothing else on it. So bear with me while I adjust some stuff here. So I got that up. Now I'm adjusting the comparator threshold slowly. And so that is so this is a flying dot scan of the CRT face, and it's showing me its graticule. And so I can, by moving that scan around, I'm going to translate it horizontally. And over some range of it works over some range. You can see the major division squares there, and even the minor division. So I'm actually going to reposition this a little bit here. See if I can zoom in on that major division. Let's see if I can zoom in on the camera too. Whoa, look at that. Magical digital technology. Okay. Like, I think I want to set my threshold a little bit less, like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the vertical gains on the writing scope. Let's get this focused again. Holy cow. Okay, so that I can zoom. That's zooming out. You can see, oh man, losing the focus. There we go. There's the vertical major divs. You can see them there. Let's go the other way. So there's, oh man, doesn't really look that good, does it? Okay, so there's the center of the screen. You can see the minor divs leaving a little trace. And this screen actually has a burn mark on it too. You can see it on the right-hand side there. Let's see if I can get this to focus up one more time. Whew. Adjust this thing. Comparator threshold. What else? What else can we do here? There's the major divs on the, or the minor divs rather, on the x-axis. I can pan through. There's the center of the screen, and there's the burn mark under that little blotch there. Just scanning the scope face and displaying it on this other scope. So I'm actually going to zoom back out, get a little bit more, and we'll try, let's see, how does this look? There's a lot of glare. It's all right. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little piece of wire, if I can, into this, into the face, and we'll see if it shows up on video here. Oh, there's a little lead, a little piece of wire lead. It's pretty small. If it goes right up against the face, whoops, it's kind of hard to control. It has to be right up against the face to display. So I'm just moving this piece of wire up and down. Actually, I can bend it into a little loop. So, like, obviously, obstruction, like having a thing physically in the way, is a much more intense signal than a slight deviation in brightness. But anyways, just there's a loop of wire. Actually, let's zoom out even more. So now the scan is bigger than the diffuseness than the angular resolution. What else do I have here? Got one of these rulers. Let's see if I can get the ruler in there. Oh man. You can see the end of the ruler there. This is pretty sketchy to be jamming a ruler into a scope face. And it's not at the right angle. You can see that hole messed up. There, that's better. There we go. I don't want to put pressure on it. Okay, so anyways, it's a pretty low res analog video, but I just thought, hey, before I go ahead and chop this up and make it better, because there's a bunch of limitations I'm pretty sure I can overcome. I thought, I might as well just record it and show you what I'm up to. So now, why am I going this way and not the other way? Why don't I have the tube mounted on the leader scope face? Well, it has a really long decay phosphor, and it's hard to detect that phosphor. So let's zoom back out here, and it's more green. There's no blue or violet in this one, so it's harder to detect. It makes it more of a signal to noise problem. But anyways, yeah, that's it. Just this simple flying dot scanner experiment. It depends on where I'm pointing the tube too, right? You see, it's not up against his face. It would work better if it was, but because it's not designed to mount on that one. Okay, well, I don't want to get really rambly, but anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.